Good evening, class. My name is Joshua Barrow, senior at Troy University, and I come to talk to you today about the movie The Crimson Tide, starring Denzel Washington. This movie is based on an attack from Russia and the U.S., nuclear war, basically, whether or not they're going to fire their nuclear missiles, which in the end they turn out not to be. But the cast being Captain Ramsey and the XO being Lieutenant Commander Hunter, they have a disagreement on whether or not they want to fire the missiles and to either begin a war or end the war against Russia. The 3 points I'm going to hit today are going to be the leadership styles, the one I would emulate, and third being the follower scene, showing how the leadership and the followers are used in connection and the best one that fits. Starting off first, the leadership style of Commander Captain Ramsey, being his would be an authoritarian. He's more of a give orders, no input type of person. Captain would be the perfect example of a authoritarian slash transactional leader, being that again he doesn't really need the input of others. An example he used, he said when he was recruited, the only thing they needed him to do was to push a button. That being that he didn't really need the input of his followers, which in my case wouldn't be the leadership style that I would pursue. But again, Ramsey also used the example that his crew needed a chain of commands, being that all they needed the XO to do was repeat what he said. He didn't need any back talk. If he needed to make a comment, say it in private. If not, keep it to yourself. That displayed Ramsey's attitude towards not only his followers, but just his mission and title and period. Secondly, would be the XO, also known as the Lieutenant Commander Hunter. He would be more of a utilitarian, also known as a transformational leader in my eyes, being that he took the input of his followers. He didn't just base everything off his personal opinions. He took the thought of his followers and used that to decide whether he was going to make his decision based on. Hunter, the XO, basically, he focused on a common goal, a common point. He wanted to make sure that everybody on the ship understood his reasoning and made sure that he understood everybody's reasoning on the ship. He took the time to find people on the ship, people being the captain of the boat, the captain, and ask them what were their points, what were their opinions on whether or not to fire the missile, and what would happen if Russia had called off the threat and they fired their missiles anyway. For example, he used the example, what if Russia called off their attack, but the U.S. still fired theirs? And in the instance of them seeing them fire their attack, both birds meet each other and boom. The captain of the boat replied by saying a nuclear war. He corrected him by saying a nuclear holocaust, meaning not only would they lose, but other people being Russians / the U.S. also losing, being that it would start a war. Now, being said that, the XO Lieutenant Commander Hunter would be the one that I would emulate the most, being that he took the time to think, he took the time to process, and he took the time to find a better solution or better route in order to lead his men and crew to a safe home victory without causing any unnecessary casualties. That right there showed me great leadership, being that you can't just lead by yourself. You got to have your followers behind you. Without your followers, you would not be a perfect leader. You would not be a great leader. In my opinion, you would not even be a good leader. So that also brings me to the follower scene, which I want to make sure I pronounce his name correctly. Levetti. He is also the one that was in charge of fixing the radio so they could receive the transmit from the government, letting them know whether or not to shoot the missile. Levetti played a major part in this movie to me, being that not only did he fix the radio, but he fixed the crew. Fixing the crew being that he proved that Captain Hunter, Lieutenant Hunter, was correct in his opinion or his thoughts to not fire the missile until they got the correct authorization. That being right there saved a war from starting, and it also got Levetti to express or show that he is a exceptional follower and also an effective follower. Being so that he didn't need anybody to stand over his shoulder to fix the radio. He was given an order and he followed through perfectly just in time to basically keep a Holocaust from happening. So again, to hit all three of my points, we talked about the leadership style of both Captain Ramsey and Lieutenant Commander Hunter. We talked about the one that I would emulate the most, the one that I would follow along with if I was a follower. And we also talked about the follower scene that emulated how Lavetti was what we call an effective follower. Again, being that he didn't need anyone to stand over his shoulder. He was given an order, he put in a thought process, and he followed through exceptionally. So again today, class, I want to tell you that the movie itself, Crimson Tide, great movie if you ever want to see an example of how leadership is being displayed, starring Denzel Washington. In the end, they didn't fire the missile. Captain Ramsey realized that he had flaws and that he was wrong, and by that, he turned over his boat to Lieutenant Commander Hunter. So, end it.